I'd like to call to order the Wyoming Valley West School District regular meeting of April 10th at 7:10 PM. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson,
Here.
Mr. Tabascus,
Here.
Mr. Hardwick,
Here.
Mr. Keating,
Here.
Mr. McGinley,
Present.
Mr. Perfetto,
Here.
Mr. Kubuski,
Here.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Here.
Mr. Kamis.
Present. A moment of silence followed by the student flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to announce there was an executive session held prior to this meeting to discuss personnel items. At this moment, I'd like to turn our meeting over to Mr. Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Kamis. Go over here with us. Okay, before we start tonight's meeting, I would love to acknowledge one of our elementary students on Tuesday, March 26th. The gentleman, young lad here from the Jordan Center, is a fifth grade student at State Street Elementary School. Jordan got on the bus on that day in Marshall, as he always does. And as the bus pulled away from State Street, the students, elementary students, were talking and communicating as they normally do on the way home. At one point, a kindergarten student that was sitting on a diagonal next to Jordan began to choke on a piece of candy. The students that were in the area seated next to this particular student began to holler to the bus driver that we had an emergency situation. The bus driver pulled over to the side as he could and began to race back to the kindergarten student. Jordan, who was sitting again on a diagonal, instinctively got up out of his seat, turned the kindergarten student, and promptly hit him 4 to 5 times in between the shoulder area of his back and the object of his life, temporarily avoiding what may have been a tragic situation. So tonight, Wyoming Valley West School Board, as well as the Wyoming Valley West School District, would like to thank Jordan and Mom for bringing him up tonight and acknowledging what he did on the school bus that day. Again, it very well may have been a tragic situation, but if not for his quick thinking, we might have had a situation again that could have been tragic. So on behalf of the Wyoming Valley West School Board and School District, we want to present Jordan with a small token of our appreciation for what he did on that day. I did call the student's mother that day. The student that did choke. She was so relieved and so thankful and wanted to convey the thanks to Jordan for what he did. But I think if it wasn't for his quick thinking and for his heroic action, again, it would have had a terrible situation. So I want to congratulate Jordan and say thank you.
Jordan, thank you very much on behalf of the school district, from all of us here, that what you did was very heroic that day. And I just thank you to your parents and your family. It's just amazing what you did and how you did it. I mean, you just reacted. That's pretty cool. So thank you very much.
Great stuff.
Anybody else?
Good stuff. Don't use that. Do your homework before you log on to Xbox.
First, mom didn't share with me that the boy who had the problem with the mom did write a very nice note to him, thank you. So that was nice to hear.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job, George.
Thank you.
Student representatives, Lillian Mahoney and, Simone DeBrew, please.
Riley Bobkowski, Jalen Pashinsky, Richard Schweitzer, and Braden Warman were selected by faculty as Seniors of the Month for the month of March. The students were honored at a breakfast with a faculty guest of their choosing. They received a certificate from administration, and their photograph will be featured in the local newspapers and on the high school webpage. Congratulations, seniors. Members of the student council and baseball team assisted the first ever Easter egg hunt on March 24th. The event was a success. The Gamers Club hosted a Mario Kart tournament on March 23rd at the high school. High school juniors and seniors participated in the ASVAB test this morning. Junior/Senior Prom 2024 will be held on May 10th at Genetti Hotel in Wilkes-Barre, PA, from 5:30 to 10 p.m. Prom tickets will be on sale during all lunches from April 9th to the 18th. Tickets are $65 or $130 per couple. You must have the prom permissions form initialed and turned in at the time of purchase to buy a ticket. See Ms. Abutanos-Fellerman or Ms. Tamarantz for forms. Additionally, check all debt. Students holding a debt will not be sold a ticket. Cyber students, please email atamarantz@wvwsd.org to plan for your ticket purchase. Senior yard sale signs are on sale for $25. All orders and payments are due by 2 p.m. on Friday, April 12th. Signs will be available for pickup at the end of April. See Mrs. Fellerman or Ms. Tamarantz for more information. The French and Spanish Honor Society ceremony will be Tuesday, April 16th at 6 o'clock in the high school auditorium.
Members of the Student Council assisted with STEAM Day at Chester Street Elementary on Tuesday, April 9th. Wyoming Valley West High School has 150 juniors and seniors participating in the Junior Achievement Inspire Career Discovery Experience at the Mohegan Sun Casino on Wednesday, April 17th. All students attending the career fair created an elevator pitch. At the event, students have an opportunity to participate in break our rooms related to career readiness, entrepreneurship, legal learning, and mock trial presentation, as well as attend over 70 exhibits from architecture, engineering, construction and trade, hospitality, tourism, art, media and marketing, banking and finance, business management, insurance, sale and service, health services, education and training, energy, utilities and environment, and manufacturing and transportation. The Unified Track Meet will take place on Thursday, April 18 at the high school. The sophomore party is on Friday, April 19th from 5 p.m. at the Amber Palace in Wilkes-Barre. The Student Council is sponsoring a blood drive in conjunction with the American Red Cross on Monday, April 22nd in the gym. The National Honor Society induction ceremony is Tuesday, April 24th at 6 p.m. in the high school gymnasium. High school junior Natalie Wilson is a member of Leadership Northeast class of 2024. Her team this year is the Pantry Providers, and their mission is to fight against hunger in our area. A donation box is placed in the main lobby for items such as peanut butter and jelly, Pop-Tarts, cereal, canned foods, crackers, chips, and mac and cheese until April 30th.
Thank you both very much. Mr. Tosh, I'll turn it back over to you at this time.
Okay, at this time, we have several initiatives that as a school district, administratively and in each building, several initiatives that we push each year. The high school has been involved in a number of new initiatives this year, and Mrs. Carey tonight will give a brief presentation on one of those initiatives, a STEM lab. Mrs. Carey.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Tosh. I'm excited to share the plan for the STEM Lab at the high school with you tonight. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge several collaborators on the project: Mr. Tosh, our superintendent, Mr. Navraki, our director of curriculum and instruction, Mr. Anthony Dickton, our career readiness coordinator, Mr. Waskevich, our technology director, Mr. Boncheski, our science department chairperson, Mrs. Diane Gordon, our technology department chairperson, Mr. Ryan Hedis, who is one of our faculty members. He's an adjunct STEM professor at King's College as well and holds a STEM endorsement, and Mr. Dave Cordes, acting buildings and grounds supervisor. This is the proposal that we had submitted to the state as to our rationale as to why we think this would benefit us. So I will read this verbatim for you. A STEM approach at the high school will aid students with being flexible, detecting patterns, finding connections, and evaluating information, all of which are skills valued by any path they choose, career, college, or military. Learning will be connected to real-world application. Teachers and students are frustrated by lost learning. This initiative will provide an opportunity for all students to participate in the STEM approach. Equitable and meaningful instruction should improve student learning, address lost learning, and prepare students for their future. So here's some advantages. One of the things, Mr. Tosh has been to the high school several times. We've talked briefly at different times about some of the space that we have that's not utilized properly or no longer what is needed. So this renovation of this library space is definitely going to help us to be in the modern world here and really give the students an opportunity to function in modern day society. So some of the other advantages, once again, are these real life applications that can be incorporated into the curriculum. The new buzzword is transdisciplinary learning. And simply that's nothing more than interdisciplinary learning, but also with that real world application tied into it. So it's intertwined. And it's no longer just science, technology, engineering, and math. It's also business and management, financial planning, reading and writing. Mrs. Gordon and Mr. Hedis just had recently an opportunity to attend a STEM conference with 30 of our students. The focus at that conference was one of the financial planning activities. In that activity, students had to make decisions about real life as to what their career might be, where they want to live, in terms of housing. Do they want to have a mortgage? Are they going to rent? The activity was so meaningful to the teachers and to the students, they would like to recreate and utilize that same lesson in our lab so it could reach all of our students. We want to engage, once again, all diverse learners. So this project-based learning approach is going to benefit not just our highest achievers, but also our special education population, our English learners. Inclusivity, once again, no longer just meant for those highest academic achievers and the most demanding and most challenging disciplines, such as, say, computer science. This is something where all needs of all students have been taken into consideration when we create this space, and I can't wait for you to see what it's actually going to somewhat look like. So once again, this collaborative teamwork environment where the setting will allow for research, collaboration, and presentation is the other piece. Sorry about that. This is one of our inspirations here. Mr. Boncheski, our science department chair, he got to actually go to Michigan State University and tour their STEM lab. So he provided us with several different photos of the labs, and you can see here all the different combinations with the type of seating and the space that's available. So once again, it's that research, collaboration, and presentation. As we go through here, you could see a lot of the furniture is on casters. The tables, some of them are smaller tables, larger tables, so they can have different configurations. You've got whiteboards on the walls. You've got these large spaces where everyone can move around for whatever their activity might be that they're working on. Presentation, we have some podiums that we've ordered as well. We've got some spaces similar to this in our library, the space that we're going to use, where you can have these tables and whiteboards that you can take down, move around, and utilize however you see fit for the type of learning that's taking place in the labs. This is just one example here of what that looks like for the students there. And then For us, the furniture and technology that we've purchased are some desktop computers, whiteboard tables, so you can actually write on the tables themselves. A lot of the teachers have small whiteboards that they utilize in their classrooms. This is just one more space in addition to the freestanding whiteboards that they'll be able to use. The chairs, they will be movable as well, and we've also made purchasing options for chairs that would suit and meet the needs for any competitions that we might host. So we could host events as opposed to just, going to events and participating there. Smart interactive whiteboards, wall-mounted TVs, podiums, 3D printers. We are purchasing 2 of those, which is going to take our options for students and their projects they create into another realm. Microbit kits and Sphero bolts. I'll show you those in a second. Drones and display cases, because we certainly want the students to be able to display some of their work. Mrs. Gordon and Mr. Hedges couldn't be here because of some commitments that they have for extracurricular activities, but they would be able to explain for you better some of the functions of these particular programming and coding kits. They are meant to help, a basic beginner learner how to program and code. So as I said, we're considering every student in the purchasing options. Here's what the 3D printer bundle looks like. Very advanced technology, something the teachers are excited to be able to access and use and teach other teachers how to use. Mrs. Gordon is super excited about the drone technology. She and her engineering courses, due to the structure of the library, who has a 2-story library where you're going to be able to use the drones indoors and get the kids excited. She also wants to incorporate drone activities curriculum, and she has some contacts that she has in the military that they are going to help come, hopefully, and educate our kids a little bit about how they're used in the military. Here's our high school design. So as you enter the library, we will have now as a STEM lab part of a functional seating there that's a little more casual for the students, teachers to gather in groups. I could definitely see some of our English classes gathering here as their preparations for a research paper or any of our classes really. Here you can see the full back view along the side. You get a little sampling. Keep in mind the software that we used here to create the digital version is a little different than the reality, but you get the idea that the tables are set up, they're flexible, you can move them, have individual, full seating, and you could also get a sense here of if we were to have competitions, how wide open this space is to be able to utilize catapults, be able to utilize Barbie bungee is one of the things that they have a competition in our math department, so we've got that 2nd-story balcony that we can use that safely inside, so you get a sense of that. And then here is the upper library view, which will now be our computer lab, which we will want to maintain the integrity of the donated lab that we have, which will have seating there too for 30 computers, as well as its own podium, TV, etc. And then this is just a little more of the schematic for you to get an idea of how large the space actually is, how we have storage available, that open balcony space. And this grid, I think, gives you the best depiction as to when you have furniture that's functional and flexible and able to be moved on the casters, how you can easily take research, be able to collaborate, and be able to present in that particular space. So we're really excited that it's something for everyone, which I think is a very, very tough task to complete. And I have to give credit to our teachers who are in the science, math, departments that they really, really, really thought about who we can get to come here. And I will tell you this, they are super excited about how they are going to roll this out and encourage and get the teachers and the students excited to come to the lab. So we are hoping that we have here this new heart to the building in the modern world that's going to improve our student engagement and help every kid to learn.
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you to you and all your staff for stepping up and doing this. It's pretty exciting. Does anybody else have anything?
I'd just like to say thanks for that presentation. That was very nice. And I like the idea that it provides a broad scope that appeals to all different students and the hands-on approach. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's simple, I think sometimes we think that everything has to be the rule, and it's just the simplicity of the space and how you can imagine it for yourself that makes it work.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Camus, I should add, when we announced this last week or the previous week, I had a number of middle school teachers and elementary school teachers reach out to me and ask, would they be able to have access to the STEM lab at one point? I said, let Mrs. Carey get this up and running. Let us get a foundation, and at some point, we can integrate it on a K through 12 level. But they're very excited on a middle school and an elementary level too.
Thank you. Mr. Tosh, do you have anything else to add this evening?
Yeah, just a couple announcements, quick. A big thank you to the administration, the teachers and students who came out last night at Dana Elementary School for Math Adventures in Candyland. 76 families came out for Family Literacy Night. They've been extremely popular nights this year. Chester Street is having one right now, the title Family Engagement Night across the street as we speak. Thank you to all the families and educators who have participated. This parent-family engagement is a partnership that's critical to the academic success of children. Also, a big thank you to all who organized and participated in STEAM Day at Chester Street, hosted by the Chester Street PTO. STEAM Day was yesterday. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Information about the presenters will be available on Facebook. Again, thank you to all. As mentioned by the students before, Unified Track Home Meet tomorrow is canceled until April the 18th. Also, our occupational therapy department has created a monthly newsletter that is shared on the district website. It's underneath the tab Parents, and you can find it under occupational therapy regarding what school-based occupational therapy programs there are, as well as tips for skill development for home. They did a very good job with it, so congratulations. And report cards will be available on the Skyward Parent Portal 1 week tonight, Wednesday, April 17th. And finally, congratulations to Olivia Yellen for being named the Citizens Voice Scholastic Superstars of 2024. She's part of a 25-member class chosen by a panel of judges from nominations submitted by many of the school district in the Citizens Voice coverage area. Scholastic superstars may excel in the classroom, but they also shine outside of academics. They volunteer in the community. They lead clubs and other organizations and star on the stage. Olivia will receive her medal during a ceremony on April the 25th at the FM Kirby Center. Congratulations to Olivia. Thank you, Mr. Camus.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tosh, for the update. Moving on, statements from interested citizens. We ask that you keep it to 5 minutes. 3 minutes, sorry. Jim from Municipal Services? Sorry, I can't read your last name. What? What did he say? All right. Elijah from 44?
Good evening, and thank you for the board for letting me speak. I wish to talk about the director of the Wyoming Valley West Plays and Musicals, Mr. Hetrick. After some talking with the cast and crew of the recently performed Anastasia, I do have some concerns, as do some of the other cast and crew. I've gotten the general consensus of the people who have issues that they like their fellow cast and like the theater department itself, just wish for it to be under a different director. The opening week of Anastasia, I was told by many of my fellow Spartans that practice was held far past 9:30 at night, with some students telling me that they did not get home until 11 at night. Far too late to get a good night's rest, especially with some of them still having homework to do. I personally have nothing against Mr. Hetrick, but I could not stand by watching my friends and fellow Spartans coming to school the next day talking about how tired they were, both physically and metaphorically. I've compiled a list of complaints directly from the cast and crew of the musical, of which, but are not limited to, Mr. Hetrick getting mad or upset over the littlest things, personally messaging students on Instagram. When things don't go his way with students, he makes them do something that they do not want to do, threatens to kick students out of the plays or musicals for unnecessary reasons, makes students do things they are uncomfortable with,
Can I stop you for a second there? With all due respect,
Mhm.
Mr. Hetrick is not here tonight to defend himself.
Of course.
And what I would prefer you to do is if you would like to set up a meeting with me as superintendent, come over to my office. Honest to God, I welcome you to come in. I just don't think it's fair to an individual if they're not physically here, if they're not present to defend himself. I don't think it's right that we do that. I would prefer that if you would like to, I could come up to the high school to you, or you could come to my office, if that would be better for you.
I can perfectly understand that.
Okay, how about I do this? If I can get your name from, I'll get your name from Mrs. Carey,
Mhm.
and how about if I run up to high school tomorrow and we can go through all that? How's
Okay.
that? Okay?
That works for
All
me.
right, thank you so much.
Elijah, if that's a more comfortable environment for you, but you are free to speak at that podium and into your timelines. So it's at your discretion.
I do agree. It is unfair for him to not be here to defend himself. And it would be better for it to be tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Saminsky?
Good evening. My name is Dave Sheminsky. I teach at the high school. I've been there since 2009, and I have been running the ski club since, fully running the ski club since 2010. And I just wanted for you guys to put a name to a face to a name. I've written you letters every year. We have some turnover on the board these last couple of years, but every year at the ski club, we take the students to Vermont, and it's been a fantastic experience around the board. So I'll be writing you another letter for next month's meeting for you to approve, hopefully. I'd like to take the students back to J Peak. We've been going, after the pandemic, we've been going back to, well, actually, no, right before the pandemic. We were the last trip. We got back that Sunday night. But we've been going to Smuggler's Notch. We went to Smuggler's Notch for 5 years, J Peak for 5 years, and then went back to Smuggler's Notch for the last 3 years. So we're gonna switch back and go back to J Peak, northern Vermont. They get over 300 inches of snow. They just got 2 feet last weekend, and the eclipse was otherworldly. You can check it out online. But I just wanted to, again, thank you again for all your support, and just have you guys know what I look like and what I do. And if you have any questions, I'll take them. But I just wanted to make sure you know who I am. That's real short and sweet.
So if I may go first, Mr. Saminsky, you and I spoke about this. Thank you very much. My son has gotten to go on one of your trips, and actually 2 of your trips, and that's something that he would never be able to do because I'm not a skier. And you showed my son something that I would never be able to do as a father. And so thank you. I think it's my nieces or my nephews have gone as well. So I think that's pretty awesome that you cut that time out of your personal life to take our children and do that. I think that's great. And thank you.
I appreciate it.
Anybody else?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Saminsky. Amy Carosa.
Hi, Amy Carosa, 44, and I too want to just say the ski trip, I appreciate Mr. Saminsky so much because I don't ski and my daughter went this year and had the time of her life. And also the school is awesome because just this week or I guess it was last week, we went on an orchestra field trip to New York City. And again, it's another thing. I would have never driven to New York City. I got to chaperone and I like checked that off my list. I don't really like the city, but the fact that the school offers opportunities to the students that, you know, even parents don't want to do, I really, really do appreciate that. That's not the reason why I'm here to talk tonight, though. I am just looking at the agenda again, and I wasn't at the work session because, like I said, I was at that orchestra fabulous field trip, even in the rain. But there's 30 policies and it's 102 pages. It's just a lot for somebody like me that actually likes to look at policy and see like the changes from the old to the new and that sort of thing. It's a lot to look over even in a week's time. So at one point last year, I was part of the policy committee and as like a parent community stakeholder. And I'm just asking again, if it would be possible for me to be part of the policy committee meetings. I wouldn't ask you to change the schedule to accommodate me. If I couldn't make it, I couldn't make it. I really would not be trying to make it any longer than the normal meeting with the normal participants, but I just would appreciate just to get like a better view of all of these new policies, because there's a lot of policies that are totally brand new. So I'm just wondering if it would be possible for me to just have some kind of notice of when the meeting is and if I could be a part of it.
When did you stop receiving notices?
I've only been to one meeting that I knew about.
Mr. McGinley.
Yes.
I don't know if you were aware of, but are you aware that Ms. Carosa was put on that committee as a?
Tosh told me.
Okay, yeah. Is there, we really like to keep her in on that.
And excuse me, Mr. K, I thought, Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, after you were involved in the first one, we had called you on the second one, and you said, I think Mrs. Troy called you, and you said at that time, you weren't interested in those policies. So you had passed on it, and again, maybe we
Yeah,
misinterpreted.
I think, I mean, it was because you were rushing a policy, like, to get in, I think it was having to do with contracts.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I said, by all means, I don't need to be part of that. You guys needed to rush it through, so you weren't really having like a formal meeting. But there must have been some kind of miscommunication, because I never not wanted to be on the policy committee. But, I understand that, there's a lot going on and everybody's busy, and I wouldn't ask you to reschedule things for me. I just wondered if going forward, I could be maybe put back onto the policy committee.
So, Mr. Tosh, would that be a problem? There's no legal reason as to why she can't be on unless we're discussing legal.
There are legal things that we do discuss, so it does present some issues there.
But just on,
Attorney-client.
just on some of them, correct?
Right, not on all of them. Not on all of them, but
Okay.
we'd have to review beforehand.
Okay. But it's still, we can still have parent engagement if.
Or, I mean, an alternate solution, and I don't know if this, I mean, I would be willing to, even if I just got the policies as you're like, I don't even have to come to the meeting if I could just have more time to look at them. I do know that there are other districts that have like formal policy meetings where the public is invited. I understand that you guys probably don't have a quorum, so you don't need to do that in public, but there are districts that have actual like public invited to their policy committees. It's just a thought. Like, there are alternatives. It's just hard for somebody that likes to read the policy to do it in a week's time.
So, Ms. Carosa, you have my full support
Okay.
and
Thanks.
my full support as a Valley West board member to help us with our
Okay.
policies.
Thanks.
There's a lot of moving parts up here for board
Oh,
members,
yeah.
and we certainly don't have the time to get through all of that. Mr. McGinley has definitely stepped up as a board member to help us some, but it would definitely help streamline some of our meetings.
Well, it might save time because I wouldn't have to like belabor questions at a school board meeting if I could do it in policy committee meeting. That's another positive.
Is there anybody on the stage that is objected to Ms. Carosa helping us?
No, quite frankly, Mr. Camus, I think the full board approved of all that how many months ago and said, sure, it would be a good idea.
Okay, great. All right.
And again, I apologize to you because I believe you approached us a couple months ago. I had no idea. So I'm going to stop apologizing and now we'll figure out why you're not there and we'll make that happen for
Okay,
you.
no, it's fine. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Carosa, very much. Mr.
Do we
Tosh.
put do we put like the first reading ones on our website, or are they stored, there are somewhere there, right?
I don't believe they are. I
First
didn't see
reading
it.
is on there.
I thought we did.
The first reading is there. But that does, first reading is the first reading. Second reading next month would be.
No, I mean, I thought the whole policy, we have copies of it somewhere. Aren't they available now to read all these?
They're
Everyone that's
supposed to
on the
be.
agenda.
They are supposed to be, yes.
I think for the first reading, they have to, just so we can see what they are.
Yeah.
So they are available, right? I get it. Yep. Okay,
Mrs.
thank
Carosa,
you. Yeah.
You will definitely have an opportunity between now and next month, okay?
Thank you, Mr. McGinley, and thanks for Mr. Tosh for helping us follow up with that, please.
Kala Haslak.
Hello, Mikhail Haslak from Kingston, Pennsylvania. How are we doing tonight?
Very well. How are you?
Good to hear. So, as Elijah stated earlier in his statement, we have some issues with the theater program, specifically Mr. Hedrick. However, I did hear what you said about not prosecuting when he's not here to defend, so I will refrain from doing that. However, some more general points I have to make, a more generalization of what I was originally going to say. I don't have anything right now. I'm just going to go off the top of my head, so I'm sorry about that. We have some issues with just the program as a whole being not necessarily a good environment due to issues with this teacher. And my favorite part about our school district as a whole is our sense of community. I'm sure if you ask all of the students, like 95% of them will say that, you know, their favorite part of our school is, you know, the friends they've made, the communities that they've built, and the bonds that they've formed with fellow students because, you know, a lot of the activities I'm part of, we do really have families. We know each other, we love each other, and we respect each other. But the theater program, especially over the past year or two or so, has become sort of a toxic environment. And, you know, I feel like a lot of us are aware of that. However, a lot of us have passion for, you know, the art of theater itself. So, you know, we choose to turn a blind eye to that to pursue something that we want to do. However, I tried to make that decision for myself. I had a pretty negative experience going into one of our shows, and when I tried to return, you know, I weighed the pros and cons of it. I decided that I wanted to do it because I just liked the feeling of making something. We had art that we made that we got to share with the public. So when I went to ask if I was able to receive the health forms necessary for participating in stage crew, which is not a tryout-based activity, is if you sign up, essentially you are in stage crew. I was informed that I would not be allowed to work on the stage crew, but instead I would be allowed to come support the show, which, you know, I would understand, of course, if it was disciplinary action, if I had done something wrong. However, when I asked other students about why this was, I was told that the reason I was being excluded was because I had made some constructive criticism towards the last show, especially regarding the issue that our director had stated that he didn't care what our actors did as long as he made profit, which I personally had an issue with. As Elijah said, there are some more things that other students have said that I would describe as just immoral and not okay for an educator, especially. However, this isn't about, you know, me. This is about our community, as I've stated. So other students, I feel, would have more to share than I do. But I do feel like this is an issue that we all care about a lot, and I would really, really appreciate if you would further think about it. Mr. Tosh, I heard you extend an offer to Elijah. Unfortunately, I am not able to speak in tomorrow. I'm taking an exam, and then, you know, later personal reasons.
How about Friday, so you're there?
Friday, I should be okay. I appreciate the offer. I appreciate you extending that
I
and
would hope
reaching out.
you'd be there, and if we can't do it Friday, we'll do it that you're both there. I want you both.
Fantastic. I appreciate that. Elijah and I are not the only two. We have had multiple complaints from multiple students. So this is, like I said, not an issue that is stemmed from one or two people. This is a bigger issue from, I think, like 20 plus people. So I'd really appreciate your consideration. Thank you for hearing me out. Have a great night.
We'll do that Friday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. I need a motion to approve the regular meeting, regular March meeting, 2023.
So moved. Second.
And special meeting of 2022, or March of 22.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Committee reports, Athletic Committee, Mr. Vasquez.
Yeah, just two quick updates. Anybody drove by the stadium, we started our turf replacement project. Estimated 3 weeks completion. They already have all the old turf off. So that's moving forward. I'm looking at about a May 1 completion date. Also, if you've, for softball field, our dugouts, we had a little bit of delay, and the week of rain didn't help us any either. So We're looking at starting or finishing that around April 26th, so we may lose or reschedule a home game or two in that time frame, but hopefully by the 26th, we'll have our new dugouts. That's it. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baskin. Very exciting. Mr. Keaton, do you have anything this evening?
Only thing I'd like to report is that the Finance and Personnel Committee began working with both the superintendent and the business manager on identifying vacancies that are going to be created through retirements, as well as new requests based on pupil enrollment. And we started doing some preliminary discussions on the 2024-2025 budget. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Keating, very much. Education, Mr. McGinley, do you have anything this evening?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, yes, we're moving along. As you can see, we have a lot of first reading. That's exactly what it is. It's a first reading. It can be any revisions that would be appropriate that will come next month.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. McGinley. Mr. Hardwick.
Very briefly on ESSERS, invoices are coming in, invoices are being paid. There's a lot of work going on within the district regarding ESSERS. But we will be having a meeting, as I discussed, I think, during our work session, with buildings and grounds and ESSERS, just to make sure, because there's so much overlap, make sure that everything's on track and on target. With regard to special education, the committee did meet last week with Director Barada. We reviewed 2 due process cases. We also took a look at some of the items related to the CTC as well as the district. And we took some time to review how the IU, meaning the intermediate unit, presents billings and items for special education. And we're going to look to ask Mr. McGinley and our business manager to see if we can get a little better clarity and description in invoices through the intermediate unit. Other than that, I have nothing else.
How much do we spend on a yearly basis with the intermediate union or unit?
Last year, we spent about $1,900,000.
It's a lot of money.
It's a real lot of money.
And the request, again, is fairly simple, just some greater detail within the invoices. So it helps Maria as well as our business manager to cost these out and just to track the costs on a per student or on the basis that they see fit. So I hope we can make some headway there and improve on those invoices.
Thank you, Mr. Hardwick, very much. Mr. Dickon, do you have anything this evening you'd like to add or no? Thank you. I have nothing to report through buildings and grounds this evening. All right, moving on. General recommended action items. Items 1 through 42, we will need to fill in the blank on number 39 before we get a motion on the floor. In our packages was 4 quotes from tree companies. We had Raised Tree Service. It says remove tree row for $3,800. We had Petrosky Tree Service. It says remove group of trees behind the school for $3,500. We had Don Bly's Tree Services for $3,800. It says remove several trees behind Borough Building in Plymouth, chip brush, cleanup, haul off wood, and grind stumps. And then we had another quote from Solis Enterprises for $6,500. And what it says here is all branches will be chipped and all trunk wood will be cut up, loaded and hauled and disposed of with a broom and rake cleanup. And the stumps are to stay in place for $6,500. So I need a motion, our motion to include one of these tree companies.
Mr. Kenneth,
Yes.
who was the company that cut the trees at the high school that didn't remove the stumps? Or
So-
the leftover wood that's still there?
So the company that cut that tree was Don Bly's Tree Service.
And they gave us a proposal for these trees as well?
He gave us a proposal for these trees as well.
Okay. I don't feel like the last contract was honored yet.
So Mr. Guevara kept that wood on premise for some resident that was supposed to have cut that wood and clean it. That wood was to be preserved. That's why that wood is still sitting in that parking lot. So
Well, we've been told it's supposed to be removed for weeks now and it's still sitting there.
again, the guys, from what I'm understanding, he's not billing us for it, but it was bid to be left there.
So it wasn't in his bid.
It was not in his bid to take that wood.
Mr. Camus, would it make sense to perhaps, since that hasn't been removed, to incorporate, and maybe it's too late, removal of what's sitting there, since obviously whoever wanted it isn't taking it, inclusive of taking down the additional trees? I don't want to hold things up, but that wood's got to go somehow.
Well, maybe whoever this board picks, we could just ask them to clean that up for us,
Okay, yeah.
to make sure it's cleaned up.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna get somebody to take that wood. You're gonna need a hefty machine to get that out of there.
I think that's why it wasn't reflected in the bid. It's, oh, you want it? Yeah, sure. It saves me lots and lots of work.
Exactly. I don't think we could ask the person that's gonna give this proposal to remove. all
Not
that
for
out.
free. They're gonna end up, there's gonna be a bill associated with it, but at some point, we gotta get it out of there. Now, it might be removed today, it might be removed tomorrow, it might this weekend. I know I drove by there, I went buggy riding this weekend, and I know they were taking some out.
Well, I would make a motion, the lowest bidder on this, proposal, which would be Petrosky, I believe.
But Petrosky doesn't include the stumps.
I
None
don't
of them included the stumps except Bly's Tree Service.
That's
Well,
what I was.
what was proposed? Was it just a verbal thing through? Or was it in writing? I don't know if we actually gave.
So I can't ask for what our assistant did, that, Mr. Cordes has done to help us with this.
I can tell you this much because Kingston's constantly dealing with removing trees and stumps. If the removal of stumps are included in a proposal for $300 less than the other two, that's a significant savings by the inclusion of the stumps. That's a big cost.
There's only one that proposed to grind it, if I'm correct, right?
Correct.
But do we ask for it to ground? I guess is the question.
Why would,
In the,
so I don't have the answers to that because I wasn't there on part of it. But it seems as though one contractor admitted grinding them, one contractor included grinding them, and the other two just ignored it.
so we don't know what was asked, because it wasn't actually in writing.
I believe there were phone quotes. Phone quotes received through, fax.
Who made the calls?
I believe Mr. Porter's made the calls on behalf.
We don't know for tonight's purposes. We
Correct.
just don't have that answer.
Which contractor said they would grind them, please?
Don Bly's Tree Service,
And what was his cost? Did you ask?
3,800.
Did that?
I make a motion to have Mr. Blank do it.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor by Mr. McGinley to put in Don Bly's Tree Service in line item number 39 for a cost of $3,800.
Yep.
Second by Mr. Keating. On a roll call, please.
Just on that question?
Would be the whole item, the whole general.
I have a question on 41.
Go ahead.
So, site logic, I still am not sure why we're picking a company. If we were going for the lowest bid, why we're picking, what are they offering that we're picking this? That's my question. What are they giving us more than other companies that propose? Because I'm under understanding that we were looking at the lowest.
So if, let me try this, 'cause I don't know if I heard the question the right way. it is of my opinion that they have a broader scope of work. They have a broader corporation that allows us to do more things as a district, I feel, especially with the age of our district, and our buildings. I think they have more resources available to them.
I think that's the key word, Rick. They did a very comprehensive review of all of our buildings and facilities that didn't cost us anything. That were never identified before they came in and did that. And they specialize in providing these comprehensive services to school districts. I noticed in our area, since we selected SiteLog a few years ago, that other districts have as well. Very good at grant writing, directing districts in the direction of pursuing grant funds, and they have a staff, in my opinion, that's really geared toward the overall benefit of schools. And at the end of the day, all of this is a professional service, so I don't see what the big deal is about maintaining SiteLog for their services.
They're currently in here. We spoke about that.
Right.
And
I think making a motion to appoint someone new is a validation that they're not doing a good job, and I think they're doing a really good job.
I think you, Mr. Keating, you mentioned last meeting that it wouldn't really benefit the district to hop around from contractor to contractor at this point.
No.
They're doing a professional job, doing a great job, so that's where I stand on it.
Anyone else? On a roll call, please.
Well, I think your first roll call vote, there's a motion and a second by Mr. McGinley and me to award the bid as presented to Don Bly. So that needs to go into number 39, and then I would think that everything else would fall under your general recommended action.
Yes, so I just need roll call on items 1 through 42 right now to approve. I have a motion.
We don't have a motion, we just have a motion and
Oh,
a second on the Don Bly.
All right, I took it as though we had a motion on everything.
All right, however you want. Okay, so we'll do a roll call. Don
1
Bly
through.
on number 39 individually.
So on a roll call on item number 39, individually singled out, for the contract of, Mr. Bly to remove these trees for $3,800.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick,
Yes?
Mr. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Perfetto,
Yes.
Mr. Kubuski,
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Oh, boy. He dropped off. My fault. So it's on you for, Bly's Tree Service, on item 39, for $3,800. We're on a roll call vote.
Mrs. Cassatt, Mr. Kamis.
Yes. So we'll go items 1 through 42 and exclude 39. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick,
Yes.
Mr. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Perfetto,
Yes.
Mr. Kubuski,
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt, Mr. Kamis.
Yes. Staff recommended action items, items 1 through 13. I have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anything on the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick,
Yes.
Mr. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. McGinley,
Yes on 1 through 12 and no on 13.
Mr. Perfetto,
Yes.
Mr. Kubuski,
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt? Yes. Mr. Kamis?
Yes. Motion carries with one noted, no. Finance recommended action items, bills for payment, finance manager's report, and the treasurer's report.
Motion to accept.
I have a motion by Mr. McGinley to accept. May I have
Second.
a second by Mr. DeBaskus. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Tabascus?
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick?
Yes.
Mr. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Perfetto?
Yes.
Mr. Kubuski?
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt? Yes. Mr. Kamis?
Yes. I'll go around the table, board member comments. Mr. McGinley, do you have anything you'd like to add this evening?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Kubuski?
Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kubuski. Mr. Perfetto, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I would just like to thank Mr. Hardwick for chairing our special ed committee. I think we accomplished quite a bit. And thank you, Chuck. Hey, anytime. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Perfetto. Mr. Wilson?
I'd just like to say thank you to Ms. Carey for her presentation. I thought that was great. I'd love to learn new things about stuff going on in the district, and he left, but to thank Jordan for his actions on that bus that day. That was remarkable.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Hardwick?
I agree. Mrs. Carey, thank you. Great presentation. I look forward to seeing the STEM lab move forward. And all the folks who have been working on it and will continue to work on it. And if I'm ever on public transportation, I hope Jordan's on with me. Thank you.
That was good, Bill. Mr. Keating, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Kind of echoing the same. I'd like to commend Jordan and Tara and your staff did a really good job on the STEM presentation. I think that'll be a great thing for the school.
Thank you, Mr. Keating. Mr. Hardwick, or Mr. DeBaskus?
Just that the athletics, that all of our spring sports are now in action after some delays for the outdoor sports, but thanks for all the athletes participating. I know it's a lot of extra work, but thank you for making our district look good in sports. So that's it.
Thank you, Mr. DeBaskus. Mr. Kuchar, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Again, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity. Obviously, we have a lot of work ahead of us. It's going to be a daunting task, and it's going to take all parties involved.
Oh, you'll get there. I know you will. I have faith in you. Ms. Cassatt, you were saying?
Thanks to our hero Jordan and to Tara, Carey, and her team for the STEM lab. Great job. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Cassatt. Mr. Tosh, do you have anything?
Yeah, just two items I want to throw out. Again, thank you to Mrs. Carey. And 2 weeks ago, when I think I first introduced the STEM lab, I'm always hesitant about naming people because I know I'm always going to forget somebody at this age. And I forgot Mr. Wiskevich sitting right down here, who is one of our more dedicated employees and knows a lot about STEM labs. So thank you, Mr. Wiskevich. And I apologize, I missed you. The one other individual that I do want to thank, we have an assistant principal here at the middle school, Chris Gagaris, in with us for his first year. And because of some personnel vacancies that we've had administratively, he's really gone above and beyond, running from the middle school to the high school, to the middle school, to the high school, back and forth like a ping pong ball, trying to help out. And now we have him back here at the middle school, but I want to thank him for his cooperation and his professionalism in helping us out. Thank you, Mr. Kamis.
Thank you, Mr. Tosh. I have nothing this evening. I'd like to note that our next work session will be Wednesday, May 1st at 7 p.m. And our next regular monthly meeting will be May 8th, held here at 7 p.m. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion adjourned, please. Second.
Motion is